Hello there and welcome back. Carol here from the Crafty Emporium again. So after the live video the other day, I said that I was going to go off and go and do a bit more on my journal. Yeah, well, I had something to eat and then I had a little snooze. I did actually come back to the table and do a bit more before I went off to bed. So I just want to do a quick catch up of what I've done so far. First thing is I've actually just wrapped an elastic band round just for now until I get to stitch it in place, just to hold the pages in place so that they're not getting lost as I'm sort of moving stuff around on my table for work. And then I can still pull the pages out to work on them individually. But I thought I'd give you a quick flip through of where I'm up to right now. So my front cover, which I love. Oh, and my back cover, which I love. And then on the inside, on the first page, so what I did here was I put some washi tape on. So as you can see, I put border on, and then I did a bit of faux stitching around it, cut out one of the images and just glued it in place. So this is going to be a little bit of an intro page. I cut out the information from the digital kit that I've used, and I'm actually going to staple that at the top up there, and then just do a, today, well, the date that I started it, and just write a little bit about, this was the kit that I used, it came via email, I started making this journal, did a live video on it, that sort of stuff. Now the pen that I'm going to be using to write in my journal is a Frixion pen. Okay, let's just bring that up close for you to look at. So it's a Pilot Frixion pen. Now, individually, they are quite expensive pens. But when I was at school, when I were a lass, right, when I were a young lass at school, I so remember doing a biology topic at school, and it was about soil. Interesting topic. And I remember doing it as my homework and rewriting it so many times because I would get so far down the page and then I'd make a spelling mistake and I'd scribble it out and it looked horrible, and I didn't like the fact that it looked horrible. Didn't have Tipp-Ex then, so couldn't Tipp-Ex it out, so I'd rewrite the whole thing. Now how OCD is that? So that's one of the reasons why I like these Frixion pens. And I'm just going to, in fact, let me just do it on the back of there. So basically you write with it, hopefully, because it's a pen. But this top bit up here, it rubs it out so that if you've got something wrong, and I don't want to do it too hard because I don't want to wobble the camera, but it does actually rub it out. Okay, so that's why I'm using these, because I don't want to get writing on my page and then make a mistake. Some of you might be able to live with those mistakes. Not me. I can't do that. So I would be really miffed that if I'd spent a lot of time on creating the page and then write on it, make a stupid spelling mistake and have to scribble it out and stuff. So that's why I'm using those. So that will be my first page. Then I made a flip up page. Now at the moment this is blank, they're just blank white pages, and I'm okay with that because by the time I come to writing them and I add all my little extra bits and pieces, a few clusters here and a few sticky labels there, a little bit of stamping, a little bit of music paper, it all starts to gel together. So on the back of that, in the live video, I dyed some of the papers, but I have also left some completely blank just to balance it out, because if it was dyed papers all the way through, it would just be too much for my eyes to cope with. So I've left some blank. The other thing that I've done is I've started adding some, you can see on the edges here, I've started adding some of the washi tape on the edges of the pages, so I'd done that as well. This was one of the pages that I inked up in the live, but then I did a tiny little bit of stenciling just down here in the corner, just to give it a little bit of a focus for your eye to focus on, and then I can write sort of around that. I cut up one of the digital pages so that there's just this odd shaped piece here, and I'm thinking of adding something on the back to then make it into a kind of pocket. I might cut it into a tag shape. You might see me doing it in a further video. Then on this one, I just cut out one of the pieces and stuck it on so that it's a tuck spot there. On this one, I added a couple of the ephemera pieces and I've just stapled them in place so that I can write on the back, but I can ink on those, stencil on those. I did a pocket here. So it's not always about making the journal complete so then you can start to write in it. You can start to build on it. So see it as a starting point and then build on it as you're going along. This was another piece that I just cut out, so I've added that as a separate little piece just to add that little bit of interest there. Here I used the leaf stencil and I just inked up around this top left hand corner of the page, again to just add that bit of interest and a focal point, so then I can start writing on the rest of the page there. This was the pocket that you saw me do in the video. So if you imagine something tucked inside of there would look really nice. Here I've got some ink on the back of my paper, not worrying about it. I could add a belly band on there and then add a notebook to sit over the top of it. So, you know, little mistakes like that can be covered up, don't worry. On this one, I thought this owl with these toadstools just looked really elegant on that page, but I've left it so that that is also a tuck spot there as well. Now on this one, when I first looked at it, I was like, whoa, that's heavily coloured. But I've got a little something that I'm going to show you in a minute, because once I actually started adding some different little bits of elements, it actually started coming together. So again, if you're going to ink up your papers and you think, oh God, don't like that, don't worry. Don't worry, be happy, because by the time you add other things on top of it, and I could write in gold pen on top of that, it will actually start to come together and look lovely. So whatever you start with, don't panic, build on it and see what it can come to. So as you can see here, I cut out some of the leaves from the digital kit, stuck a bit of, I actually stapled them on, and then I've put some washi tape on top. This was another little element from the kit, and I've added that now so that that's a little pocket. So I'll add maybe a couple of little tags in there. And I'm going to do something else on this, but I'll come back to that in a minute. This I've left as the centre. Now I've come up with a cunning plan about what I can do in the centre here, but I'll come into that again in another video. On this page, when I looked at the colours that I'd used on here, and these were the Dilutions shimmer sprays with that pink on, this went beautifully with these colours. So what I actually did was I made it up as the envelope as per the kit, and what I did was I stuck the flap down, so now I could put something in that pocket, and that's now hidden away. But I stuck the flap of the envelope down just here, so that when the envelope's down, I can actually tuck something behind the envelope flap, so it becomes a bit of a secret tuck spot too. And that was as far as I'd got last night before I went to bed. That was the pocket that you'd already seen me do in the video, and yeah, that was as far as I'd got. But I'm quite happy to keep building on this bit by bit. Now then, let me go back to, let me just think, which page was it? This one, it's very, very busy. That was the stenciled one. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have some kind of a pocket sat on there so that this pattern now forms a bit of a background. So I did find out some sort of amber coloured, yellow, orange coloured graph paper. So I thought about cutting that up to add as a pocket on top of the page. And yes, I know it will be quicker cutting with my paper trimmer. But I don't know what it is. There is something I find therapeutic about cutting out with a pair of scissors. Okay, let's see how big I want it. So, I reckon right there, maybe a touch less. So then I've got a decent sized border around it. And I don't want it quite that long. So maybe probably about there. Yeah, there should do it. And then little pieces like this, I can write a note on for the day and actually add that on a page as well. So I'll keep little bits like this. But what I'll do is I'll make a wallet up, a plastic wallet that I've got, and I'll keep all these bits together. What do I want? I want my ink for inking up. And then of course I've got all my Tim Holtz cut aparts, you know, the cut out pieces. So I could decorate the corner of this once I've glued it in place with those sorts of elements. Maybe a bit of a crochet doily and a bit of cheesecloth to just add a bit of an element to it. But those are the sorts of things that I'll put in this plastic wallet. And I've got a little side table in my bedroom. So when I'm sat in bed, I can, in fact, I'll tell you what, we'll have a little thumb hole. Hang on. There we go. I can sit and just add some little pieces so that if I've made an entry in my journal that night, save me getting up out of my bed, because I'm thinking, oh, I could add a bit of cheesecloth to that, and then having to get up and get it. At least if I've got a little bit in my plastic wallet, then I've got it to hand to use. So let's push that off to one side a minute. Add some glue around 3 sides. So don't ever feel that you've got to have a totally completed journal for you to be able to use it, because you build on it bit by bit as you go along. Okay, let's add that there. And now that stenciling that I did now acts as a frame around this pocket, and then I can use some of my Tim Holtz bits and pieces to do a bit of layering. So that'd be quite good on there, wouldn't it? And so that's where these little bits come into play, is when you start, you know, all these little bits is when you start adding little collections of bits. Ooh, toadstools. There we go. We'll use them. See, so if I add those on the corner down there, something along those lines, it starts to come together. And then I've got this graph paper to do a little bit of writing on as well if I want. Yeah, I think it wants to be on there, doesn't it? I don't think I want that behind, because it blocks too much of the toadstool out. In fact, I'll keep that to one side. I'll have a little think about it, and I'll play with some of these other pieces, because I might find that something else in there works a little bit better. So we'll put those to one side. Somewhere safe, Carol. There. And then that's now ready for a little bit more. And then the other thing that I thought I would show you is on this page, what I could do is with a sheet of music paper, a small strip, and in fact if you rip several small strips, then you've got them ready. And then I could just add that strip on that side, right up next to the washi tape, and it just again helps to break up that monotony a little. And then again I can write in there, and again I could just add just a little diddly-do, little piece of ephemera at the bottom, and that, you know, or a little die cut or something, and it just starts to bring it all together, you know. Whereas when you look at that, that looks kind of bland and boring. Close your eyes, let me add that bit on there, and now it starts to come alive just by adding just those two little pieces. So I'll add those in a bit, because this was the page that I wanted to show you. So what I was going to show you didn't work, so I've had to make alternative plans. So basically I was going to use this copper Adirondack acrylic paint dabber over my stencil to add a little bit of, you know, shimmer to it. Yeah, it looks awful. Didn't like it one bit. And I did it up here as well. Didn't like it. So I came up with a cunning plan, which was this. So I've used a paper doily instead, and I've cut it up, and I'm going to stick that on top there. Okay, I'm going to ink it up first. So again, it just goes to show that even if you muck it up and you get it wrong and it doesn't work, there's always something else that you can do instead. I could have put some gesso paint over the top to just tone it down and to blend it in a little bit, but I decided on the doily instead. Ooh, don't crease it, Carol. So that, yeah, just do down that edge, is going to sit on there. So put some glue on around there, and then that can then sit on there and cover over that mistake. And then with my Posca pen, just do what I did up here, which was just adding some dots around to introduce that little bit of white. Now, it's not the perfect scenario, isn't what I'd got in mind, but it'll do, and job's a good one, and I can write a little something on there. So I'm alright with that now. I just wanted to break up this colour a little bit. So that's okay. Didn't work. Came up with an alternative. Sorted. And then of course I can put little things inside my pockets as well. Last bit of the day for this video. I want to add this part here to be a flip out page. Now what I'm trying to do with the digital kit is I'm trying to pick out the colours within the actual digi to match up with or complement the coloured inked pages that I've done. So as you can see, that goes quite well, doesn't it? So I need to add that as a flip, but before I do that, what I thought was, because I've cut it so that it's shorter than the page here. And I'm sorry, but the sun's now shining from this angle, so you're going to get a few shadows. Is I got my music paper strips and I folded this one in half and I've inked the edges up, and I'm going to attach it onto the edge of the page there. Right, so it becomes part of the mechanism for opening it up. It just strengthens the edge of that page, because otherwise if I keep flipping it open and shut, it's going to weaken the edge of the page. So at least that will help to support it. So let's get some glue on there. So I want some on the back side, like so. And I'm not going to sit it all the way in, but I do want to make sure that it's well enough in. Okay, so it's now overlapping that a bit, and then I can put some glue on this side, and then that will fold over the top. Trim off the excess. And then normally what I would do is I would attach the washi tape on this side halfway, and then wrap it around. If the page will come open, come on. And then I would wrap it around to the back side of the next page, all right? But I'm going to do this one slightly differently. So I'm going to have to pull this page out. I'm going to line them up. I'm not having them butt up so that they're physically touching each other. I'm just leaving a minuscule gap between the two. And then I want some washi tape. So let's go with, in fact, I tell you what, let's use this wide one. Yeah, that can go on there. All right, so I'm going to put some glue on. Because as you know, I don't trust the washi tape to hold. So we'll put some glue on there. And then that can sit on there. Then put some glue on this side. And that can sit on top, bearing in mind that I don't want them kind of touching each other. I want that small gap between the two. And that's to allow it to fold over easily. If they were right butt up next to each other, even though it's only using washi tape in between, it might not bend very well. So that will now open flat there. Then I'm going to do the same on the back. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which one shall I go for? The dark brown, I think. We'll just set it off nicely. Okay, glue again. And then sit that on top. Now this time you might notice I'm not going right to the edge. If I just pull this up a bit so that you can see, I'm not going right to the top edge of this page. This one's slightly shorter, so I'm doing it to the top edge of that page. And then at the other end, again, it's shorter than this, so I'm going to cut it to the length of this piece. fractionally longer because I can then trim it off. Oh no, I've got it, I've got it, I've got it. There we go. Okay, trim this bit off. Okay, now this one I've done up to the edge of the longest page, so I'm going to have to cut out the shape. Okay, so you can see there, look, there's a little step. And I'm going to have to do the same at the other end, look. There's a step, so I need to cut that step out. I'm going to cut down there, cut across there, and then cut across there. And then that will then fold in nicely. And then that's another tip in, done and ready to use. And then that can sit back in there. So that will look like that. And then what I might do is no, I'm going to leave the stenciling. I thought about doing a little bit of stenciling on there, but I don't think I will. I think I'm going to leave that and then have that just purely as the tip in there. So from the middle now, as I say, I've got something planned for the middle. I know what I'm doing there, but I can't do it until that's stitched in. That's the envelope one. I've put washi tape on the edge of that page. Not done anything with the edge of this page yet, and that's because I've not quite decided what I'm doing there. Here I've got a tip in, which complements the colours of the inks on that page. So let's go through. See again, look, these colours within this part complement the colours with the inks on that part. Oh, that reminds me, seeing this page, I figured out where the names were on these. So this one, the green one, I don't know whether you can see it right there, is Dirty Martini. So that's the Dilution Shimmer Spray I was using in the live video. And this one is Melted Chocolate. See, my eyesight's going, I can't see these very well. And this one is Rose. Oh heck, what's that say? Come on, camera. Rose something. Oh, that's too tiny for me to read. Rose Quartz, maybe? Rose... yeah. Rose something. So, I think that I am going to leave it there for now. And come back in another video and show you... see, look, the colours complement my inking. And show you the next part that I'm going to do. So... yeah, I think that will do me for today. Thanks for joining me again today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.